Good afternoon, everybody. It's been a little while since I've shot a video on my progress with this car. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Got a baby on the way and trying to get some other home projects done to prepare for when he gets here in a few months. And the push has been on to try to get this car back together. Probably the last time you saw it, the steering knuckles and brakes and all the steering components and struts were not installed. Got king springs on these struts. My original plan was to lift the car, but I stopped at the king springs because that's about the time I found out that we were pregnant. So I said, probably shouldn't spend extra money on the spacers and all this other, stuff. So right now I'm putting the brakes back together. The fronts are done. The rears got all brand new hardware, springs all alike. One thing I found out about the rear bearing housings on a Subaru, sometimes this bolt right here gets seized in the bushings. I think there's plenty other videos on YouTube and information on the web that basically talk about this, but if anybody's trying to take any of this loose, another option you can take is take these control arms that this bolt runs through and disconnect them up towards the axle. It's sort of a pain in the ass, but it's possible that you can take it out that way if you need to press a bearing out, unless you have the equipment to press it in and out with it still being in the car. And that for me was not an option. Let's see, what else are we working with now? Still have all this taken out. I've got as much rust taken care of as I can possibly take care of. Basically the strut towers here in the back were rusting through. They didn't rust through the pinch welds, so it's still structurally sound, but everything around it was rusted. So I went ahead and laid a wire brush to everything I could get to, and then sprayed over it with some paint over rust spray paint. I know it's not POR 15, but I don't know how long this car is going to last. So I didn't really want to get too crazy with it. I just wanted to stop the water from getting inside the car and hopefully slow down any further rusting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've just been piecing everything back together. Checking all my connections and everything that I've messed with so far, making sure bolts are tight, things are torqued, and working through this checklist of mine. So right now it's just try to get the brakes together, and I got to replace a couple calipers. The pistons had seized in them, right rear and the front right. One of the pistons in the front right won't budge, so luckily my local parts yard had another 98 sitting in the yard, and I went and got everything that I needed. Word of caution, if anybody's having wheel bearings pressed in and out, you want to be sure to tell the shop not to apply pressure right here, because if you look at it closely, it's actually bent. I didn't know that until I got it back from the machine shop where they'd pressed my bearing in. I guess they'd put something right here and sent the press through. But yeah, I had to go to the junkyard and find another one with hopefully what is a good bearing. So if it fails, it fails, but this pretty much right here is junk because of that. It's a shame too, is it got brand new bearings, all the new seals and everything. So oh well, that's what happens when you have a project car. You have to kind of just roll with the punches and take your losses when you get them, because it's gonna happen. So yeah, and What a friggin' mess. 10,000 things going on at once. Don't be me. Keep your shit clean.